Well, welcome back to the course. In this section, we're going to go over the two types of Agile and all the different definitions of the Agile process. This is going to help you when you log into Jira and you see all these terms that you might not have heard before, like a user story, a sprint. If you didn't go through this section, you'd probably be a little lost. So first, we're going to talk about Scrum versus Kanban. So with Scrum, you use backlogs, sprints, user stories, and it's measured. The backlogs is where most of your tasks will be. You make them into sprints, and you use user stories to put into the backlog. The work is planned and is detailed before starting. It's usually a project. You probably are implementing something for a different division of your company, or you're implementing a new system. The team has deadlines and you have clients. You might be building a new app for a startup, or you're putting on new features to older software, and it's date driven. So let me give you an example. Maybe your ERP system is out of date and you're only going to be able to use it for another 6 months, and you have to get a new one up and running. So you have to hit those dates. And when you have that type of deadlines, if you have a hard date in 6 months, there's only two things that can happen. Let's say you have 3 bugs. Well, you're either going to have to implement it with 3 bugs, or you're going to have to push out the deadline, or just take those features out. So with Scrum, there are deadlines, and you have different clients that need things up and running at a certain time. Where with Kanban, you don't necessarily have any deadlines. You start working without a real plan. It's like Scrum with no due dates. So I can give you the example of help desk, where they have possibly thousands of tickets, and someone comes in the morning, they can't get their computer going, it has a virus. You have to actually help that person relatively quickly, or else they're going to be twiddling their thumbs all day and not doing any work, because we really rely on our systems these days to send email and send different documents and do our work. Whereas there might be someone calls in the help desk and they want a new ERP system. Well, that one's going to be at the bottom of the list, and it might make it up in a larger project, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. The idea is there's hundreds or thousands of tasks, and they're all prioritized. Which one's the most important to which one isn't? And there's not a lot of deadlines as to planning with Kanban. So now I'm going to go a little bit into some of the terminology that you're going to see when you're using Agile and using Jira. So the first term we're going to go over is a roadmap. It's a plan of action for a product or solution will evolve over time. Product owners use roadmaps to outline future product functionality and new features that need to be released. When used in Agile, a roadmap provides crucial context for the team's everyday work and should be responsive to shifts in the competitive landscape. Multiple Agile teams may share a single product roadmap. Next, we're going to take a look at the backlog. This is where you put all your different user stories, tasks, and bugs. We're going to talk about in more detail the product backlog. It's a prioritized list of work for the development team that is delivered from the roadmap and its requirements. The most important items are shown on the top. The development team doesn't work through the backlog at the product owner's pace, and the product owner isn't pushing work to the development team. Instead, the development team pulls work from the product backlog as there's capacity for it, either continually or by iteration. So that's all the work that's in the backlog. A user story is a tool used in Agile to capture a description of a software feature from an end user's perspective. The user story describes the type of user, what they want and why. The user story helps to create a simplified description of the requirement. Next is a bug. This is simple. We've all dealt with bugs in our iPhones, our Android phones, any kind of software we use. It's just the product doesn't work. There's something wrong. There's a problem with the software. Then a task, what the team needs to do to finish a user story. So also a task could be used for your personal project. If you're rebuilding your house and you need to put a new roof on, you're going to have a task there, and you're going to have new flooring and new walls. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about the terminology, the people. So you have team members. This is pretty straightforward. The people doing the work. The Scrum Master, this is the person responsible for the entire Agile process. The product owner, they're responsible for the product, whatever product you're building. Then you're going to have stakeholders, the people that are usually paying for the work, and they want and need the project to succeed. So they're bought into the project, and these are people that are going to help you with putting user stories together, do the finance, do the contracts. So there's all these stakeholders that are going to help you get this project finished. So here's some terms in regards to the ceremony, refining. So it's a common understanding of the work. You're refining the process. Sprint planning, identify the work to do in the next iterations from the backlog. A stand-up, this could be a daily meeting to make sure all the team is on the same page. What bottlenecks maybe someone's having, working out issues each and every day. A demo, you're going to show what you've actually created, what product you've made. And retrospect, this is when you're going through lessons learned, what worked well, what didn't, what you can improve on. So process terms, Scrum, we mentioned this before, method where work is done in iterations. Kanban is a method where workflow is continuous. A sprint is a fixed amount of time to finish the next increment of work. Velocity, how much work is being done in these iterations. And cycle time, the average time it takes for a work item to finish. So I know that's a lot of terminology, but you can go back to these slides in this video and when you're going through Jira and look at the definitions in case you don't understand what one of the terms are. And I think it'll be helpful for you as a beginner, or even if you aren't a beginner, it's good to go over these terms every once in a while. Well, great. We'll see you in the next section of the course.